Welcome to the Dirty Heifers podcast. Soap making, small business, and so much more. Let's get dirty. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dirty Heifers podcast, where we keep it real about the ups and downs of running a small business. I'm Margaret, joined as always by Jessie and Shauna. And before we dive into today's episode, we want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Country Lather Soapworks. Southern charm in every bar. Check them out at countrylathersw.com. We love supporting fellow makers and appreciate them helping us keep the mics on. Today's topic is one that I think every small business owner has wrestled with at some point. Imposter syndrome. You know, that nagging feeling that you're not good enough or that you somehow lucked your way into success. We're getting real about our experiences and how it shows up in our businesses and how we try to overcome it. But before we get into it, it's time for our favorite segment, the word of the week. This is where we give Jessie a word to see if she can guess what it means, and in turn, she gives us a good old Southernism. Jessie, you ready for this one?
Yep.
Hey, I have a question. Should we spell this out for the people who are listening?
That's a great idea.
Okay.
So I will hold it up, and you can spell it out while Jessie takes a look at it.
All right. So the word is spelled, can you see it all, Jessie? ANACHRONISM. I feel like we need that Jeopardy music right now.
Anachronism. They get it right?
You did. Good job. Anachronism. Now.
Anachronism. Redneck definition time.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I can't say what I was just thinking. Hang on. Let me think.
Yeah, remember, we're still classified as clean, so.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say somebody's got a knack for the tism. That's a redneck way of saying you got a touch of the tism.
Okay. What tism you mean autism?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
You've never heard that? Touch of the tism?
I've heard
No.
it.
I mean, I've heard on the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we say.
Touch
It's
of
like,
the tism.
I'm
assuming
pretty
that's
certain
what
that
you mean.
person's on the spectrum. But.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
So, anachronism.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's a redneck way of saying you got a knack. Hang on. How can I say this and be not so rough around the edges? That's a struggle for me. That's a struggle. A knack for the. Oh gosh, I can't. Now I got to come up with something different. That'll get us canceled. That'll get us, we would so be canceled.
Well, now you have to share it. I'll edit it out. What?
A knack for the individually stupid.
That doesn't make any sense anyway.
All right, what? I don't even understand what you
Oh, wait,
said.
hang on. It's got crone in it. Hang on. You got a knack for a turlet because you got the crones. And a touch of the tism.
Let me tell you, when she said, this is Shauna's word, right? It's not mine. So I printed out, and I said
I
to
have
John,
no clue what it means.
I said to John, I don't know what it means. And I said, there's no way Jessie's going to know this one. So I said, anachronism. That's how I pronounced it. Anachronism. I said,
Anachronism?
John, I think the word is anachronism. And he's laughing. He's all right. And he's doing dishes. He's cooking dinner. He's blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I know what that word means. Anachronism, by the way. And I'm like, oh. It's not anachronism. When you pronounced it, I was like, disappointed in myself.
I got it and you didn't.
I like the anachronism, though.
Yeah.
Anachronism. That really goes along with my definition. Anna's got the crones.
Oh no. Are we ready for the actual
Untouchatism.
definition?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, wait. Use it in a sentence first.
I think you got a touch of the tism.
We're going to get canceled.
All right, so are we ready for the definition?
Yes.
No, use it in a
yeah,
sentence
use it
first.
in a sentence first. Because I honestly don't know what it means.
This is a learning moment.
This is a learning moment because I was thinking completely, I pronounced it wrong, I said it wrong, and in my head I'm thinking that it's like the word acronym. You know, like when you, like TWSS,
Shauna's
that's what she said, right? When you use the first letter for everything, what is that called?
I know what you mean. Like suddenly, you know what? If you hadn't asked, I would know exactly what you mean.
That's
Right?
an
Acronym.
Acronym. That's what I was thinking. Acronym. That's where my mind went.
I think we all got confused there for a second.
Yeah.
We're all like, it's a.
Maybe
Definitely
we
one
all
of
got
those
a
words.
touch of the tism.
It's definitely one of those words that like you know it until someone asks you and then you forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say it.
Acronym. That so in that sense, it could be like to be plagued with acronyms.
Not even close.
You are
dude.
plagued with the acronyms.
All right. So did you
Letters
use it in a sentence?
everywhere.
No, I haven't used the sentence yet because Jessie hasn't stopped talking.
Which is a common occurrence.
Well,
Jessie,
then you
shut up.
just got to tell her.
All right. Don't spew it to
Almost
Mark.
lost it. I almost.
Water almost come out you uneven nose holes.
We're about 10 minutes into this and still haven't gotten anywhere. This is amazing. This is pretty typical for us.
Yeah.
All right. Use it in a sentence, Effort.
All right. That butter churner in her kitchen is an anachronism.
No clue.
All right. It is a thing belonging or appropriate to a period other than that in which it exists, especially a thing that is conspicuously old-fashioned.
All right. I get it.
So am I an anachronism?
No.
You might be. You're a somethingism.
That
All right.
explains a lot.
So
So I still have no clue what it means because
Let's
that
say,
was
like,
a lot
it's
of
something
words.
that's like out of place in time. Like you
Right.
wouldn't see a butter churn in my kitchen because I could just go to the store and get butter.
Right.
Butter churn is an older thing, you know.
People
it's
put it
out
in
of
their
Okay.
place.
kitchen. You know, people have it.
So
in
like,
there. Or
you know,
like
seeing a Tesla in the 1930s.
that would be an
an
anachronism.
Got it.
We have a
Okay.
lot of them up here where we have the Amish and their horse and buggies on the road with all
Right.
the cars. That would be,
Yeah.
you know, that's old fashioned. But yeah, or like having an oil lamp in your house with your electricity.
Mm-hmm.
I have an oil lamp in my
Yeah.
house, so I have an anachronism in my house.
There you go.
I also have a crosscut saw, and so I've got a house full of anachronisms.
So let's hear our redneck word of the week. Or our southernism.
This one's a southernism, so it's not just one word, and it's long as you're happy.
Long as
Sha-
you're happy.
Shauna's got it.
So like you could do whatever you want as long as it makes you happy.
Yes, but it's typically meant as a degrading term.
Like you're
How
doing
so?
something stupid, but as long as you're happy doing it.
That's right. Bless you.
Thank you.
Not bless your heart. Bless you.
Different southernism right there.
Different.
Yeah.
Yes.
So long as you're happy, that's like, yeah, you're being a complete idiot, but as long as it makes you happy and you ain't hurting nobody else, it's all good and well.
Okay. All right. Southernisms are so sweet.
They are
Bless you.
so double-edged.
Right?
Bless your heart.
All right. So let's go. Before we dive into the main topic today, I want to share an email that Jessie got from a listener. I'm not going to read the whole thing because there was, that was her stuff in it, but I wanted to just read part of it. Now for some mushy stuff. I cannot tell you enough how much your podcast has changed my life. Not necessarily that I'm gaining life-changing information, which I am learning a lot, but for the last 7 years of having this business, I've been completely on my own. It's always been my thing, and I do 100% of the work on my own, by myself, in my soap room. I now feel like I have friends in the room with me, not only keeping me company, but giving me a sense of community in the soap world. It's so refreshing listening to people who casually talk to the part of my life that has taken a large portion of my head for the last 7 years. And I have to say, when Jessie shared that with us, it like struck a nerve, because when I first started making soap, and I'm sure that this is the same for you, I was completely obsessed. I talked about soap to anyone that was near me, whether they were listening or not. I was just, I was just talking about soap all the time. I know y'all can relate, right?
Yep.
It is just amazing how much you identify with our business. So I just want to say thank you for that message, and keep them coming. If you guys have anything to say to us, we do read everything that comes across our way. One of us is monitoring all of the social medias at all times. So if you have something that you'd like to say to the Dirty Heifers, let us know. We are dirtyheifers@gmail.com. We are Dirty Heifers on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere you want to send us a message, we will get it. And I love that. I really was so happy reading that, because it is like hanging out with friends and talking about things that we are interested in. And it's so hard to find your people. It took an app for us to find our people, because honestly, I feel like if I did not have my people to talk with everything about, I might have fizzled out already. You know what I mean? Like, with nobody to talk to and nobody to. So if you feel like you're fizzling out, don't fizzle out. Talk to us.
That's right.
We will.
Drop
we're
us
there.
a comment. We will keep up with you.
Yep. We will
best
listen.
we can.
All the time. So today we are talking about imposter syndrome. And what is imposter syndrome, right? It is feeling like a fraud despite the evidence of your success. Right? It's that voice that tells you you're not good enough. You just got lucky. Right? I think of it all the time, because when I first started making soap and I got on TikTok, TikTok was still, it wasn't new, but it was new to our age people. Like, TikTok was for all the kiddies, right? So when I got on TikTok, I was the old lady on TikTok. And when I got a viral video right in the beginning and got followers were just like crazy. I went from, nothing to 50,000 to 100,000 to 150,000 to, and I'm like, these people don't know who they're following. I don't deserve this. How did this happen? This is just luck. It's not me. It's just luck. Right?
Right.
How about you guys?
Every single day.
Really?
Every single day. I think I said it a couple of episodes ago. I'm just the luckiest soap maker in the world because I really stepped in it.
You did have some luck, but
I did. But, along with that luck, and a lot of it, it's luck, but what you do with that luck is what matters.
That's what I was going to say.
You've got to, if you're afforded some luck, some fortune, whatever, what really matters is what you do with it. And I feel like I have placed my steps very well, but still I have my days where I'm really down on myself and I'm like, I don't deserve any of this. I really don't. And even in my finer moments, I still don't feel like I deserve it. But I've put a lot of effort into it. So, it's, it's like when we was at the conference and people would come up to me and, want a picture with me or whatever. And I just kind of wanted to like melt into the wall. Not because I didn't want to talk to people or anything like that. It just felt surreal and didn't,
Like, why do you want to take a picture with me?
Why with me? I make soap just like you do.
Right. Right.
And I can say for, you were talking about how you got this viral video and all these followers, and you're like, why are you following me? I haven't had a viral video like that necessarily. And then I'm thinking like, I'm doing something wrong, or I'm not worthy of being followed because people aren't following me. So it's like, it doesn't matter, it seems.
Oh,
It
yeah.
can go either way.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
matter whether you're being successful and doubting why you're there, or if you're not, excelling at everything, it's I'm not good enough, and that's
Right.
why I'm not there yet, right?
Right.
That comes at you from everywhere.
It's a double-edged sword. It doesn't matter what you do, it still hits you.
And it's not unique to what we do, honestly.
No. Oh, no. I mean, with anything, that there's got to be imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah. Even in medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot, they talk about this in groups a lot. And I think it might be more common in females, honestly. But, yeah. There's even, you go all the way through medical school and you're out there and you passed all your boards and you still have people who are like, I'm not good enough to be looked towards,
Right.
Wow. I never thought of it that way, but I get, yes, and I can totally see what you're talking about when you say especially it's got to be more prominent in women, because for so long, medicine and physicians, that was such a male-dominated field for so long.
I wonder if that's the case across all careers, or if it's more prominent with women in medicine, or just more prominent with women in general.
I think it's more prominent in women in general. I think we just
are down on ourselves.
Yeah, we're down on ourselves, but also just because, we just doubt ourselves on everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and for so long, women, their place was, at the house, cooking and cleaning and taking care of children. And don't get me wrong, I'm not putting that down at all. I feel like a stay-at-home wife and mother, that is a very noble thing. I mean, very, very, very. It takes a very special person. I know. I mean, I did it for a while, and I still consider myself a stay-at-home because I mean my kids can call me at any moment, and as long as I'm not mixing soap, I can drop if they're in a bind, and I can go tend to things. But for so long, that was how women were viewed. So I could see that being a thing, because it wasn't too terribly long ago that's how things were.
Yeah. But that's not to say also that it doesn't exist in men, because I know for a fact that it does. But I think it might be more prominent in women.
That might be a cool little thing to look up and circle back to it a later episode.
Yeah.
Whether or not it is?
Yeah, whether or not it's more prominent in women than it is men. Or which way it goes,
I can also
but to
say,
be honest...
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, after you.
Well, I forgot what I was going to say, so go ahead, Amber. You made me forget my thought.
Even when I'm on live or someone like drops into my comment section or, into my personal messages and says like, hey, can I ask your advice about something? I'm like, me? Are you sure you want to ask me? Why don't you go ask Jessie?
That's funny.
Jessie has people following her.
If I don't know something, I'll point them to someone else. But most of the time I'll answer questions. But that's the thing too. Like
I do answer them. It's just like I'm still like.
But when you're talking about social media, that can feed the beast, right?
Yeah.
You ever get you get a negative comment and then you dwell on it. And you dwell on it, and you dwell on it. And of course they said that because I'm an idiot. Of course they said that because I'm faking it. I don't know everything that I'm doing. And then, or if I'm on a live or something and I'm making soap and I flub a term or a definition or
your phone falls in the soap.
My phone falls in the soap. There's something that happens where either like John has to correct me, like, no, that's not it. Like, because a word came out wrong, or somebody on the live will be like, isn't this what you mean? Or like, I was like, of course, I'm such an idiot. Like you just feel like
I always just play like I'm dumb redneck.
Yeah, but that works for you. I'm supposed to be the sophisticated New Yorker.
You're the organized heifer.
The organized.
She's the
but,
teacher.
Yeah, just because I'm organized and, doesn't mean that I got my shit together. I think that might be one of the reasons why I am the organized one, because I don't want to mess up.
Right.
I don't want to mess up, because if I mess up, then it affects other people, and then they'll know that I'm a fraud. Right?
Do you say
They'll
that
know.
reflect? Do you think that reflects a certain level of just like baseline anxiety? Maybe. I remember at one point my husband coming to me and said something like, I think some things you do might be anxiety related. It's like, I don't have anxiety, but like looking at it, like type A, overachiever type thing, used to
That's
have
anxiety?
It can be like you're so worried about missing something
Messing
or looking bad or making a mistake that you like drive yourself sometimes to the point of exhaustion or insanity to prevent
Insane in the membrane.
Insane in the brain. I'll mark that clip. I didn't mark any clips last time.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, which means you got to go back and watch it all.
Well, I watch it all over.
I was about to say she edits it, so she's going to see the whole thing anyway.
Yeah. But when I mark things, it makes it much easier to pull those clips.
I forgot we can mark too.
Oh, that's right. We can. I keep forgetting about that.
Jessie, do not get mark happy.
I wonder if you mark, if it shows up for me.
I don't know. We can always find out.
Somebody mark it right now.
Marked.
Okay.
Clip created from marker.
See. Awesome.
Experiment time.
Yeah, I did not know. Yeah.
Mom got a kick out of the graphic.
Oh, yeah?
This week's episode. By the time we're recording this, it's 2 weeks prior. Yeah, she got a kick out of that graphic.
I had so much fun making this. I don't know what I was doing. It was on a Saturday, and I was doing all of those stupid things to avoid doing all the rest of the stupid things that I have to do. Like,
You were doing the stupid things you wanted to do.
Right. The fun things, the artsy things, the let me
Procrastination.
make a graphic thing. But I make my Post-its with my to-do lists all over, and I'm like, oh, I left my one Post-it at school, and I'll be at home, and I'll be like, John, can you take a picture of the Post-it that's on the table and send it to me so I know what I'm supposed to. What is wrong with me? So I got a book. Did I mention this?
You did in your live the other day.
To do. I have like one page of like, this is my to-do list for my stuff, right?
Wait, hold that back up again.
Good gosh, hold that up again.
Girl.
You got a lot of crap to do.
Well, a lot of it is like I have an idea. This is going to be a video, and this is going to be a video, and this is going to be a video, right? So these are all video ideas that I have, and then on the back is just more crap. And then I have like, this is my school page. Then these are just weird ideas that I've had. That hey, I should look that up. And then podcast guests. Kitty, she's the only one that I have on here. She was on live the other day. And said something about that. I think that'd be a good idea.
Back to imposter syndrome.
Yeah. So how do you overcome it? How do you when you're, in your head thinking, I'm not good at this, people are going to see that I'm a fraud. How do you get past it?
This might not be a healthy way to do it, but this is how I do it. In my mind, I'm sitting there going, I'm not good enough for the attention that I have gotten. Mm-hmm. So I push myself to be that, if that makes sense.
I was going to say, just push
I use
through.
I use that as a catalyst.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a big word, and I knew what it meant.
Definition, please. No, I'm just kidding.
That I do is
something pushes you forward.
I
propel it.
Shut up. I celebrate.
But hang on just a minute.
We're going to get nowhere fast. Okay, anyway.
But I celebrate the small wins, right? So, like...
She's going to throw something at me. I'm surprised I didn't get the finger.
You know what?
keeping it clean.
I hardly ever give the finger because I used to get made fun of when I was younger giving the finger. Because my fingers are very long.
Oh, okay.
And they just look very, very long.
They
You
do.
have some long fingers.
It's like the size of my whole head. And my friends would be like, oh, Margaret's giving the finger. They're like
She's
that
got the long one.
But it's so skinny. What?
That's what she said.
But if you celebrate your small wins, you can really, like feel a little bit proud of yourself for this and that. But I know that even just doing that, celebrating the small wins, like, oh, well, I was able to do that. I'm still not
Right.
fantastic. But the more often you do that, the
Right.
more better you feel about yourself.
I think surrounding yourself with people who are going to celebrate you as well. Like you said earlier, Margaret, if it hadn't been for our little chats, I also wonder if I'd still be in it now.
Yep.
It's funny because sometimes I feel like, do I really, this is a lot of work. I work full time. I walk in the door at 3:15. By 3:18, I'm sitting at the table. I'm trying to figure out, like I'm either wrapping soap or I'm planning to make soap or I'm working on a video. I'm working on some kind of marketing strategy or something. Like I came home today and getting ready for the podcast. I spent like 3 hours prepping, trying to get all of the information that I wanted to do and get stuff done so that I could be ready to be here. I'm like, is it really worth it? And then I hang out with you guys and I come downstairs and I'm all invigorated with ideas of things that I want to do. And I'm going to take on the soap making world because...
Yeah.
And take us with you.
Yeah, I'm with my people.
Exactly.
But I was thinking about that, like, besides, like, surrounding yourself with people who are going to build you up, because sometimes that can be bad, too. Like, you don't want to be surrounded by yes men who are just going to make you, like, tell you how great you are.
Exactly.
And not give you the... Like,
honest.
I love that either one of you two is going to call me on my shit. Right? So, like,
Same.
come on, Margaret.
Same.
Your head's getting too big now, whatever. You'll call me on it. That's really good. But sometimes, and I feel this is a big one for Jessie, you got to just sit back and look at how far you've actually come.
Yes. Yes.
That's
yes.
Yeah, you had a lucky start, but you're still there and you're hanging on. You might be hanging on for dear life, but you're managing and you're growing even further.
Yeah.
Right? You're really rounding out and becoming the whole thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And, that there has been several times, like my husband has had to pull me back, like, look, think about where you were 4 years ago.
Right.
Think about where you were 6 years ago. And he's got a knack for reeling me in when I'm spiraling. Y'all do too, but he's physically here with me.
Yeah.
Right.
And he has a knack for reeling me in when I'm spiraling. I had a big imposter moment thing when I was in DC the first time. We flew in and, the
Stop for a second. Explain to the people who might not know what happened in DC, why you were there in the first place, because I think the backstory means something here.
Oh, okay. So back in 2023, I was invited to Washington D.C. on the behalf of TikTok when the TikTok ban was really getting kick-started. And I was the face of small business on that trip. You had all kinds of different creators, but me and one other creator were the small business face. Okay. And so they brought us out and we talked to politicians, we gave interviews, you name it, just anything we could to let the public know that TikTok was not just an app where kids danced. There were, I hate to say the term real people, but relatable everyday people on the app using it for small business, using it for mental health issues, using it for
Mm-hmm.
bringing awareness, to different illnesses and mental conditions, and just bringing awareness to things that you typically wouldn't think about. So that's what that was about. And when I was in DC, first time I'd ever flown on a plane. Like, I'd never ever gotten on an airplane ever until I flew to Washington DC. And so we flew in, and there's a freaking, it's not really a limo, but it was like a
Car
big
service.
fancy car. Like,
Yeah, the car service.
fancy. Yeah. And, the whole thing where the guy, like, opens the door for you to get in the car, and I'm just sitting there going, I've got holes in my jeans and a hoodie on. So, I'm getting in there, and we're riding across the Potomac to D.C. because we flew into
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. And, the whole thing, like, there was a big dinner party that night, and freaking had a Wagyu sirloin for the first time ever in my life, and there was foods there that I have never seen before in my life, just totally out of my element, just 100%. And I remember getting up the next morning, getting dressed, and we go down to the lobby. There's no coffee pot in the room. Like, at all. How do you stay in a big fancy hotel room and there's no coffee pot in there?
That is awesome.
So anyhow, we went down to the lobby to get coffee, and I got my coffee, and they had this big, nice courtyard with the cherry trees, and they were all in bloom, and you could look over the Potomac, and, freaking Marine Ones flying down over the Potomac. And I remember sitting there going, why me? Why am I here? I'm just a country bumpkin. I don't belong here. What am I doing here? And he legit had to reel me in because I was spiraling just quick. But he's got that innate ability to reel me in and say, look, and he legit said, look, whether or not you feel like you deserve this, you are here representing millions of small business.
Mm-hmm.
Make this worth it.
Yeah.
Get over yourself and do it.
Well, he just, snapped you into place, but I don't know
did.
that that would be a scary situation.
Look.
It's a lot of responsibility, but somebody saw something in you. From all the makers on TikTok, they looked at all those makers and they said, this is the one we want to come to Washington. There's a reason for that.
My contact for TikTok, when she called me and was asking me about, flying into DC, I'm sitting there going, I can't afford to fly to DC right now. I'm saving for a shop and all this and such and such.
Okay.
But anyhow, so when my TikTok lady called me, she could not believe I'd never been on an airplane. And I had, me nor my husband had ever been on an airplane. And that blew her mind. She couldn't believe that people were in the U.S. that had never been on airplanes.
Oh, there's lots of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking back on it, I still don't get it. I still don't feel like I deserved it. But you gotta
make it.
You gotta fake it till you make it, and you gotta have those people that will cut the bull crap and tell you exactly how it is.
Yeah.
Right. And I think number one, I remember when you were on that trip and you're sending us pictures from the restaurant, like, look at this menu. What is
I had
this
no
stuff?
clue what it was.
I remember watching on YouTube going, there's Jessie.
But I think,
And I know that creator and that creator and that creator.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there going, just
I
wide
think one
eyed,
thing
like, who are these people?
one thing that you mentioned though is that you actually talk to your husband about your feeling on that. I am not very good at bringing that up when I'm having it. Even sometimes doing this podcast, or even like sometimes in our chats, I'm like, why do these two people, sorry, not idiots, why do these two people put up with this idiot? Like, why are they even paying attention?
Put up with you? Why do y'all put up with me? Good grief, my shenanigans.
It's funny because we were talking about that before. Like, we each bring such a different spin to this conversation, and it really is well rounded.
It is.
It really
somehow
is
makes the
well-rounded.
magic sauce.
We
Yeah.
cover all the bases.
We
but
do.
like what
And not like Jessie is the comic relief, but she's not always. Like every once in a while, you and I get a good zinger in there that's pretty funny.
and
you know?
it's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
But talking like what Shauna was saying about, sharing your feelings with him, I mean, I wasn't necessarily sharing my feelings. He knows exactly what to say to bring it out of me, because I'll just shut down.
Well, he knows your mannerisms too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
See,
I mean, we've been married for almost 21 years. So I mean,
God, you're
Now-
so old.
Yeah.
I know, right? Got married very young,
Yeah.
and not because I was pregnant.
Yeah.
You were
That's a
just
good thing to add.
babies.
We was babies.
I know. We saw the pictures the other day.
Maybe we did. You were so little. Well, I mean, you're still little, but you were young and little.
Now, John and I are very similar. Very, very similar. Where, like, if I'm feeling a certain way, he feels it. And
Yeah.
and gets right there with me. So if I'm spiraling, he's spiraling. Maybe not about the same thing, but like it's tough for one of us to be that, be that bitchy person.
Be the anchor to bring you out of it.
Be the anchor. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things he can logically talk me through. But if I'm doing anything emotional, no.
Now, see, Brad just tells me, he's like, I know you better than you know yourself. And I know what you're thinking. He says that to me sometimes, and I get really irritated with him. But he's trying to talk.
But he's right.
He's trying to put me out of the spiral.
But one thing we need to do is we need to normalize this as part of the converson.
It is.
Because
exactly.
obviously we're not the only ones that, like, I had no idea that Jessie felt that way. I really didn't. I remember you saying stuff about being in DC when you were there, that like, what am I doing here kind of thing.
It was a struggle.
But I thought after that it was just, business as usual, right? So I had no idea.
I put up a good front.
Right. But I feel like
think a lot of us
that's the
do.
big thing. Everybody does. You have to put on a front, and a lot of people do that fake it till you make it kind of thing, but you got to give yourself grace.
Well, that's part of the, I guess you could say, the content creator in me. I'm so used to a camera being right there. And, I have my vulnerable moments from time to time on camera, but for the most part, that's not me. I'm not going to show you that I'm struggling. I'm not going to show you that I'm having a bad day. I'm going to show you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you take care of business anyway.
Right.
But that's why
it's ingrained in me.
Right. And I will be I'm going to cry right in my soap batter as I keep, I'm going to show you I'm having a bad day, but I'm still going to keep doing what I got to do.
Do you put that on the ingredient list when you're done?
Well, actually,
I like it.
Tears of Gen X.
You got to keep that. That's we're gonna mark that.
Here we go. We're all marking it now. We're all marking that clip.
But nobody has it all figured out.
No. And that's kind of why I felt like this was a good topic to talk about, just so that people, some people might look at us and think they've got it all together. They know what they're doing. They are at the top of their game.
We have nothing together.
Right.
We're struggling just like y'all.
Yeah. Every one of us is, if you're not struggling like at the level you're at, you're thinking of, how am I going to get to the next level? And do I even deserve to be where I am? How am I going to get there when I shouldn't even be here?
Right.
Yeah. You can't let that pull you down.
I think this past year was also very difficult for everyone. I think probably everybody had those moments this past year because the economy was so bad. Like, everybody's sales were down this past year. So I think a lot of us were going like, I'm doing something wrong, and then you go on the forums and you realize everybody's saying the same thing, and that's one of the positives.
That's closed.
Yeah,
we were sending each other texts. Yeah, the three of us in July would be sending
and that's another thing that
closed.
That's another thing that fuels that imposter syndrome too, is that there's so many businesses that are closed, and you're sitting there going,
"How am I?
What makes me so special?" And just me, I mean, I had a pretty dang good year, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many soap makers that weren't. Why me?
Yeah.
You know, it hit me a lot this year, but
'Cause
from a different angle.
You're good at it though, and you
Right.
just don't see it. You're good. You're good at the content creation. You're good at the relating with people. You've got that southern charm
Yeah.
in every bar.
I
Now, I
like
can
that.
say,
I'm totally gonna steal that.
sometimes I sit back and wonder, like, if it weren't for the fact that I had a good paying job, would my business even still exist? You know what I mean? I can afford for the business to flounder some
Right.
and continue to
Yeah.
push. Not
Right.
everybody has that. And I wonder. And so then then it makes me kind of think like, well, crap, am I just wasting all my time and money in this?
Well, to me, and I thought about this the other day, and I meant to tell you this, but to me, the fact that you have got, you've got a decent job, and I don't want to say that doctors have it all figured out, but you're doing okay. And the fact that you're still, even though you've got that to fall back on, you're not letting yourself fall back on it.
Mm-hmm.
You keep pushing.
Yeah.
That takes strength in and of itself, because a lot of
'cause
people would have just given up, like, shoot on this. It's more
I don't
trouble
need
than
this.
it's worth.
Yeah, I don't
But
need
you
this.
you
What am I doing
have
this
it.
for?
You keep pushing. You keep
Yeah.
striving to do.
Some might say I'm stubborn.
And some would be right. But stubborn in a good way
Yeah.
and bad way. But I'm just
Oh, rude.
wounded. I'm wounded.
But yeah, it is super important to talk about it because everybody feels it, and
Yeah.
you don't always say it out loud, right?
Correct.
No.
I mean, we're saying it out loud now because that's the topic. But if you're feeling like a fraud, you are not alone, right?
No.
And
we
that's just-
all have that.
And it just goes back to, people on social media are often putting up a front, they're showing you the sparkly, happy, joy part, and you're not seeing
Yes.
the struggle in the background.
Yes.
And I think it's and part of the reason why I brought this up as a possible topic is I think it's important for people, and it's reassuring for people who are going through that to realize that other people are going through it too. You're not alone.
Yep.
Yeah. It is super important for that.
It is. I mean, you're not alone in it by no means, because, I mean, anybody that's tried to do anything, and I mean, there's going to be some imposter syndrome, especially if there's some success attached to it,
Yes.
because no matter what field you're in, and this is going to
exists
sound
everywhere.
really some kind of way, but no matter what field you're in, everybody cannot be successful.
That's true.
Well, yeah, we can't all be number one.
That's right.
Right.
You
You
can't.
know, but it's what I've told some folks in the past. If you don't make it in this field, that just means that there's something else for you out there.
You just reminded me of something. So I did my residency in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Penn State Hershey. The same Hershey as Hershey's chocolate. Milton S. Hershey basically built that entire town. But he failed at like 4 or 5 different businesses before he hit it with the Hershey Chocolate Company. I think he actually worked for a different chocolate company before he founded his own too. But he failed multiple times before he hit it big with Hershey. And Hershey's like a worldwide thing there. And there's so many stories like that of wildly successful people who hit it big and they failed at so many things before that.
Yep.
Well, I heard a quote this morning from Snoop Dogg.
Oh, well, it's reliable.
Well, honestly,
DOGG.
they were talking about Snoop Dogg because he's going to be given the commencement at a college, and saying that he is not just the character that he portrays, but he's got this whole philosophy in life, and he basically, it was this whole thing on failure and how every successful person has a series of failures behind them.
Absolutely.
You cannot feel your success unless you failed. So
You don't know what it is to be on top unless you've been down in the valley.
Okay, that's another way to say it.
I mean,
What's like
I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like, people
Yeah.
look at me and say, like, you're super nerdy. You're super smart. You're like, one of those people up there. But I failed my freaking first chemistry test in high school, Later on became a
Right.
chemistry major. It's
Right.
you definitely learn. You have to learn from it. And you have to let
Yeah.
it be a catalyst for you, using Jessie's
There you
word, to work harder and to
That's right.
figure out what you did wrong.
It's only a failure if you let it whoop you.
If you let
you
it
give
stop
up.
you from going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only a failure if you let it whoop you. My father-in-law, he's dead and gone, but he used to tell me something, and it has stuck with me. He used to tell me, say, girl, don't let nothing whip you. You got to turn around and whip it.
whip it good.
And whip it good. Into shape.
All right. I have a very bad... That came out of nowhere.
I've been holding this thing for like 5 minutes.
Just waiting. That just reminds me, by the way, if I ever like
Sitting
break
and
into song,
stalking.
I have a very
Right.
bad habit of, like, someone will say something and I just break into song because it reminds me of a lyric. I do it all the time. I don't do it during the
yeah.
show, though. I should do it more often during the show.
Shauna is breaking into song and dance.
Yeah. Well, the dance was wonderful today. That was fantastic. Made me happy.
Oh yeah, I don't think they've seen. Well, by the time this episode airs,
It'll
will
be
have
up.
been shared.
Well, the dance wasn't in the episode.
Right.
That was after.
Right. But it's going to go on the socials.
But
Yeah.
I just pulled up on Google. If you have used any of these 7 phrases, you might be feeling imposter syndrome.
Okay.
I'm a fraud. I'll never be good enough to deserve this. I'm not as talented as they think I am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ask questions because it's going to show how little I know. I'm not capable of doing this. Everyone here is so much smarter than me, and I'm not worthy of my success. I didn't even think of that one, like, about asking questions. Like, I won't ask questions because people will know that I'm stupid.
So I remember
Last episode.
back in high school, there was a guy in the grade ahead of me who got into Harvard, and Harvard, Ivy League, all the really super smart people, right? Well, not all of them, but a lot of really super smart people. He came back because his girlfriend was still in high school, and he said every single student there at Harvard thinks they were the mistake admissions made. He's like, every single one I come across, they think that they were the one that got through accidentally. So it's very, very prevalent out there. And I think we all feel it. And it's, yeah, I think it's good to be aware that other people feel that way. There was something else I was thinking of too. The way you handle imposter syndrome can definitely affect your relationships with other people. And we did a previous episode on gatekeeping, and I think a lot of gatekeeping stems from imposter syndrome. They think they're not good enough. They think that if they share any secret, that other people would become better than them. Did you see where I'm going with this?
I see where you're going. I'm like, how's she making this connection?
Their own issues with self-worth make it so they don't want to create any more competition, I would say. They feel like if they share anything, where they get their supplies or anything like that, or how you do anything, that someone else is going to either expose them as not knowing what they're talking about or overshadow them.
Okay.
It may not be completely, but it's a thought. It's a thought.
They scared of competition.
That's definitely a lot of what gatekeeping is they're afraid of competition. But
Yep.
what are you stepping
That
on?
and
Are you crushing soda cans? What is going on over there?
trying to move. I gotta stretch my legs out.
So in what you were saying before, Shauna, you were saying that like those type A personalities and stuff. I just looked that up too. And it said there are 5 types of imposter syndrome. There's the perfectionist. That's the type of imposter syndrome that involves believing that unless you're absolutely perfect, you could have done better, right? Yeah. You feel like an imposter because you're perfectionism? I'm an idiot. Perfectionistic traits make you believe that you're not as good as other people might think that you are.
Say that right? 3 times fast.
Yeah, nope, not happening. Then there's the expert. So the expert feels like an imposter because they don't know everything that there is about a particular subject or topic, or they haven't mastered every single step in a process. Because there's more for them to learn, then they don't feel like they've reached the rank of expert. Then there's the natural genius. In this imposter syndrome type, you may feel like a fraud simply because you don't believe that you're naturally intelligent or competent. If you don't get something right the first time around, or if it takes you longer to master a skill, you feel like an imposter. Then there's the soloist. It's also possible to feel like an imposter if you had to ask for help to reach a certain level or status. Since you couldn't get there on your own, the fact that you had to ask a question or get help, you question your competence or your abilities. And the last one is the super person. And this type of imposter syndrome involves believing that you have to be the hardest worker or you have to reach the highest levels of achievement possible. And if you don't, then you're a fraud. That makes sense.
I think probably every single person listening can identify with something in there.
Yep. With something in there.
I was going to say I'm second to last.
Second to last, the soloist. You don't like to ask for help? Mm-hmm.
I don't either.
Okay.
Which just makes things harder on you in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Interesting.
That's what she said.
Ding. Oh shoot, I left my count on the other page. I do remember when I was finishing residency, one of our attendings sat us down and said, I just want to talk to you about like going out into the world now by yourself when you don't have an attending physician over you. And I remember one of the things he emphasized was do not be afraid to ask for help. Everybody knows you just finished residency. You're going to need help in some things. Do not be afraid to ask for it. And I was still like, I don't want to look weak or like I don't know what I'm doing. And I was afraid to ask for help. And now, like 14 years out of residency now, I'll be like, can you come help me with this? I asked for help now.
Yeah. Because now you're confident in your position.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
So, all right, here's the thing. I have been a teacher for 28 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. In my 28 years, if an adult walks into my room, any adult, unless it's my supervisor and they have to walk in to observe me, if another teacher walks into my room, I completely stop teaching. I stop everything. And I, like if they're coming in to like say, I have the only color printer in the building. So if they ask me to print something out and I'll send them an email, your thing is here, and I'll be at the front of the room talking and teaching my lesson. They're coming in, they want to go to the printer, get their stuff and walk out. I will stop and wait for them to leave. Mm-hmm. Because I cannot teach in front of somebody. I can't, they'll know.
You don't want them
that
to
I
see
don't know
you
what
teaching.
I'm doing. Right. I've been doing it for 28 years. I know what I'm doing, but I can't have somebody else see me because then they all won't know.
They might think you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, they might think that I'm not good. They might, especially if the kids are misbehaving. I never, ever correct a kid when there's another adult around. I don't know why. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
So I think.
So you're a weirdo. No, I'm just kidding.
I am a weirdo. You would think like I'm going to be done teaching soon, and I still don't. Unless you're coming in and you have that clipboard to watch me and take notes on what I'm doing, and I know that my paycheck revolves on, relies on the fact that you're going to sit there and watch me. I mean, I'm an effective teacher. I get effective teaching every single year. Mm-hmm. I know what I'm doing, and I do it well. But I can't do it in front of another person who's going to be watching me and judging me.
Yeah.
which is one of the things that was super hard to overcome the hurdle to then go live on social media.
Yep.
Right? Because now I'm showing you what I know and you're watching and you right? So I had to overcome a lot to do that online. And I think one of the main reasons that I'm able to do that is because it's just a camera and not a person.
Yeah.
Like when we were at the conference and we were making soap there and I'm looking up and I'm seeing Joanna Couch is right in front of me and I'm making soap with like
That had to be, wow.
That was so surreal. Like thank God the two of you were next to me. I was like, I am going to mess something up and everyone's going to know.
But also like that, you get it going live too. I'm like, why am I going live? Nobody's going to care what I'm doing right now. And then people get on and start talking and I'm like, oh, hi. Why are you here? Thanks for coming. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me. I get that too. It's there. And it sucks.
Lives are so much easier when somebody is there talking with you.
Yeah. I will agree. Must be nice,
Definitely.
Margaret.
It does make it a lot easier, except there are times when there's a lull in the conversation from, what's going on, whatever. And then I just feel like I have to keep going, babbling, blah, 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 and I just babble about stupid nonsense.
Believe it or not, when I'm live and there's no like conversation going on in the comments, you ready for this? I draw a blank.
You don't know how to talk. Jessie doesn't talk.
I run out of things to say. And I'm sitting there, I'm scrambling inside going, okay, what can we talk about? What can we talk about?
Well, I was thinking the other day when you were talking, when I asked you if you said that you didn't like to wrap soap. And I said, that's why I wrap soap when I'm live, because I hate to do it. And I know if I say I'm going to go live, that it's going to get done. So I wrap soap live and I talk to people and you said, well, I was listening to a podcast. Why not just wrap soap and listen to a podcast? And if people are on there, they can, because we wrap soap, we listen to music while we're doing it. But if you're listening to a podcast and there's nobody on and no conversation, you could at least be listening to what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like people listen to music.
I thought about that, but if people are interacting, then you miss what's going on in your podcast.
Well, yeah.
A lot of times I'm listening to audiobooks, and some of the books I'm listening to, I cannot play.
Well, you probably listen to filthy books.
I do.
You dirty heifer.
You dirty heifer, you listen to sleazy, dirty novels.
Listen, I am a member of the book talk community. Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, I forgot what I was going to say.
You're talking about listening to a podcast while you're going live or doing something else.
But just coming up with other things to do while you're going live.
Yeah.
How many lives do you go on where you're just looking at something and they're not talking at all and not even interacting? They're just doing
all
whatever.
The time.
So
I start singing sometimes, and then I'm like, I'm probably driving people away with my singing, but whatever.
Maybe.
Sure.
I think I was thinking it's just, it's important to acknowledge that it happens, that everybody gets it. But as we said before, is that I think finding your tribe, your crew is huge in helping you get past that.
Yeah, because they'll put you in your place and like
they'll lift you up.
Like they'll lift you up. They'll
they'll cheer for you.
I don't know what I was going to say either.
Squirrel.
No.
I was going to say something about sleeping dogs and fleas and whatever, but wrong show.
You sleep with dogs and you wake up with fleas?
Yes, that one.
Are your fleas bugging you?
No, I did have that.
Are your fleas crawling?
Well, she wasn't scratching her rear end the entire episode like you were, so I think we're okay.
I was not scratching my rear end.
That's what it looked like.
I'm sorry. Video evidence.
I don't like y'all.
The video would say something different.
It certainly looked like
it itched right here. I was scratching
but we
my
couldn't
back.
see that. Okay, but Jessie, whenever you're scratching and you do this constantly the whole time, what does that look like?
Shauna, quit scratching your rear.
I'm not scratching
See?
my rear. That was my low back.
What? Well, that looked like it.
See, exactly. So it looked like you were scratching your rear for an entire episode.
That's it for today's episode of the Dirty Heifers podcast. Big thank you again to our sponsor, Country Lather Soapworks, Southern Charm in every bar. Check them out at countrylathersw.com. We'd love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts, questions, and stories about imposter syndrome or anything business related, and maybe we'll share it on a future episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next week, thanks for hanging out with us, and stay dirty, heifers.